Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode of Sports Central. I'm your host, Andrew Macke. We'll jump right in this week with softball action. Over the weekend, the Boonville Lady Pioneers won the Southern Slam tournament. They host that tournament every year, and they did not win last year, so it was good for them to get a win this year. In the championship game, they beat Pike Central 6-2, led by Kaylin Chapman, who hit a home run. The game before that, the semifinal, to get to the championship game, they knocked off Wood Memorial 10-2. Samantha Marksberry had a grand slam in that game. And then Friday night, their first game of the tournament, they beat Owensboro Catholic 3-1, and Cara Evans had a three-run home run in that game. So a lot of power for the Pioneers over the weekend, so congrats on getting the win in the Southern Slam. They continued that winning streak on Monday. They beat Washington 10-3. It's a Big 8 conference game, so they're on track to defend their Big 8 conference title. And now they are 7-2 this season so far. And they have three Big 8 games coming up this week. They host Princeton on Thursday. They play at Mount Carmel on Friday. And they play Pike Central at home on Monday. So those are three Big 8 games. So pretty important games there. And then they also play at Heritage Hills next Tuesday. So four fairly important games halfway through the year. It's about time teams should start playing pretty well. So we'll see if the Pioneers continue their winning ways. The Tecumseh Lady Braves also played in that Southern Slam tournament, but they only finished 1-2. They won their first game Friday night. They beat Providence, but then on Saturday they had a rough time, losing to both Pike Central and Owensboro Catholic. So hopefully Tecumseh can rebound this week. They have 4 home games coming up. They play Northeast DuBois tonight, Perry Central Friday, Gibson Southern on Monday. That'll be a big game. Gibson Southern's always pretty good. And then they play New Harmony on Tuesday. Like I said, all those games are at home. So get out and support your Lady Braves, defending state champions, by the way. The Castle Knights also played in a softball tournament this weekend. They played at Jasper. They finished the tournament 2-1. Opposite of what Tecumseh did, they lost their first game Friday night to North Harrison 6-2 and came back with 2 wins on Saturday, beating Vincennes 11-0 and Corden Central 5-3. So good bounce back there for the Lady Knights. They have some pretty big conference, Southern Indiana Athletic Conference games coming up this week as well. They play home to Mater Dei on Thursday. They play at Bosse Friday, home versus Apollo on Monday, and then at Central on Tuesday. So Mater Dei, Bosse, and Central are all conference games. Central's already beaten the Knights one time this year, so that'll be a big rematch game for Castle. In baseball action, the Boonville Pioneers ended a 7-game losing streak yesterday. They beat Perry Central 4-1 at home, so congratulations there to finally get back to winning baseball games. They had lost to Mount Vernon, Heritage Hills, South Spencer, Mount Carmel, Wrights, Harrison, and Lagodi in their 7-game losing streak. So the win improves their record to 2-7 on the year, and hopefully they can continue winning games. They play at Forest Park on Thursday, at Gibson Southern Friday, and then they play at Castle on Monday. It's always a pretty big rivalry game for those two teams. Tecumseh in baseball, they picked up 2 wins last week, their 2nd and 3rd wins of the year. They beat Wood Memorial on Thursday. Tecumseh and Wood Memorial don't get along, so that's a big win for the Braves. And then they beat Candleton on Saturday. A week ago today, last Wednesday, they played Princeton. They lost 3-1 in 8 innings, but it wasn't because of Kyle Lautner. He pitched a great game, pitched 8 innings, struck out 9, looked really well, pitched really well. And, you know, of those 3 runs, only 1 was an earned run, so tough loss there for Kyle, but he looked good pitching. Tecumseh's got 4 games coming up. They play at Central tonight. They host South Spencer on Thursday. Then they play at Washington Catholic Saturday, and then at Heritage Hills on Tuesday. In Castle baseball action, they won in extra innings last night. They beat the 5th-ranked 2A team, Forest Park, 5-4 in 8 innings last night. Mitch Gillis with the walk-off hit. So congratulations, Mitch. That win ended a 2-game losing streak for the Knights, and they had lost 4 of 5 after starting out 5-1. So hopefully Castle can get back on their ways of pulling out victories rather than dropping close games. They're now 7-5 on the year, and they have 3 games upcoming. They host Heritage Hills on Thursday. They play at Memorial on Saturday, and then they host Boonville on Monday. So Memorial and Boonville are always, big games for Castle. They always want to win those games. So pretty important week coming up for the Castle Knights. And that wraps up this week's episode of Sports Central. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you check it out next week.